So in certain states, like definitely in Oregon, Washington, in certain states, they have passed laws at the state level that says if you have a Social Security disability case and you order medical records from a medical provider within our state, like the state of Oregon, let's say, or Washington, you are entitled to one free photocopy of those medical records during the lifespan of your case. So, as you mentioned, Social Security orders the medical records at when you first apply. So we say we don't want to use that one free copy yet. Welcome to the Evans Disability Podcast. We hope to be your definitive guide through the Social Security Administration landscape. I'm Peter Evans, your host and managing partner at Evans Disability, a law firm that handles disability cases throughout the United States. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to mention a special resource for our listeners. Click the link below to receive a free SSA disability guide from Evans Disability. This guide is packed with details on SSA disability programs, expert tips for winning your case, and sample questions from actual disability hearings. Join me as I sit down with special guests, including experienced lawyers, our extremely well-trained staff, and even a former Social Security law judge. If you find our content useful, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on our latest discussions. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Every once in a blue moon, the client doesn't pay us directly. We just let Social Security know, hey, our client went out and bought a brand new car, spent the money, they don't have it anymore. And then Social Security will end up paying us. And then unfortunately, we'll issue the client an overpayment saying we overpaid you. And then we still get paid directly from Social Security, even in that event. But unfortunately, then they issue the client who, in that situation, who bought a brand new truck. I remember it happening. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't know. I just bought this brand new truck," and then ultimately, what happens is Social Security still pays us, and then they'll issue an overpayment.
They'll issue, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Luckily, that's not that common. So,
since we're on the topic of fees, and I know you have conversations with clients and our intake team about how to answer these questions. And of course, I know the answers to the questions, but I want to ask you as well, because I love your perspective and how I think you can explain things very, very well. What about out-of-pocket expenses? Now, we've talked about lawyer fees, that percentage, 72 up to 92. But what about things like stamps and photocopies and, out-of-pocket expenses?
Yeah, we do get questions about that because in our fee agreement, we do talk about out-of-pocket expenses and when that might come up. And I know that's a big concern because, it's understandable to be a little bit afraid of, well, what does that entail? Am I going to get a big surprise bill at the end of this?
Yeah.
$1,000 that I'm not expecting. We really try not to nickel and dime people. So we don't charge for stamps or for printing or for cost of labor for staff helping out with the case.
Right.
Even though those things do add up quite a bit. I mean, we even keep track of all those things and it does add up, but that's not really fair. We don't want to try to keep track of all that and then make somebody pay for that when we're just trying to help them get approved for disability. So we eat all of that. But there are certain things that might come up that we will ask a client to pay for. One of them is for medical records. And keep in mind, Social Security actually orders and pays for medical records at the two initial stages. So when you apply, and then if you get denied and we appeal and it's at the reconsideration level, both those times we make sure Social Security orders the right records and gets them, but they're really in charge of doing it and paying for it. So we don't have to really worry about it at that point. It's more so when we get to the hearing level and we do order the records ourselves. If there's a situation maybe where the person has already ordered their free copy. Usually we try to get a free copy, basically. And it's state by state has different rules and regulations about if they'll give a free copy or not. We always try to get it for free. When we request records, we send a letter that says, please send us a bill before you just send the records. So we always try to get that pre-approved. But if there is a cost, we will ask a client to pay, and up to $150, I think. We just pay for it. Yeah,
it's pretty internal, like, and then it sort of depends on what's going on. But so generally speaking, the only thing we ever ask clients to reimburse us for or to pay us back for is the cost of medical records that are applied to us by their doctors. So their hospitals or their facilities. There's literally whole businesses that exist that their only business is to photocopy medical records. So for example, if we go to like a Providence hospital here or a Kaiser hospital, and we ask for, hey, we need John Doe's medical records, there's a third-party company that they just send it to that says, oh, we'll go in and photocopy it for you and get you a copy of it, whether it's digitally or whatever, but you owe us, this third-party company, $45.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we need these medical records, and so we'll pay the $45. So that's an actual bill we pay,
Yeah.
And then at the end of the case, whether we win or lose, I'm still stuck on that bill. So a lot of times we're investing actual dollars that clients are not even investing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
into the case themselves. So, and we typically will front, the cost, and this is what you're talking about, the 100 to 150. And this is our firm. I don't know how other firms do it. We will put up and pre-advance, about $100, $150 for our clients. And then we'll, the hearings team, and we'll talk about a little bit, cover in depth why the hearings team, but the hearings team will then pick up the phone and be like, hey, just so you know, you're at $150 already that you owe to the firm. Is it okay? We want, now this bill is going to get up to like maybe $200 or $250, just to let the client have a heads up and permission for that. Not permission, but to give them some knowledge, like, hey, there is going to be now like a $200 cost to your case.
Yeah.
I want to talk just a minute about what you talked about. So in certain states, like definitely in Oregon, Washington, in certain states, they have passed laws at the state level that says if you have a Social Security disability case and you order medical records from a medical provider within our state, like the state of Oregon, let's say, or Washington, you are entitled to one free photocopy of those medical records during the lifespan of your case. So, as you mentioned, Social Security orders the medical records when you first apply. So we say we don't want to use that one free copy yet. Well, we're going to use it in case you get denied, because Social Security is going to go pay for your medical records, and we don't charge clients for what Social Security pays for, right? And then Social Security will order the medical records, or supposed to order the medical records again at reconsideration. Our job, and the job of the client, and we work obviously closely with clients, is to inform Social Security, make sure to go order these medical records from this spot, right? And what's at the hearing, though, Social Security stops ordering medical records. They just won't do it anymore. And they put it on the client and or the lawyer to go order them. And so the hearing wait time is about 12 months in some places and 24 months in other places. So there could be a year or 2 years worth of missing medical records. And that's when we implement the state law of give us one free photocopy of your medical records. But there are some states like Idaho, for example, that doesn't have that state law. So we have clients in Idaho, we end up going to pay for them and front the cost for those. So it depends on the state you live in, depends on the provider too. Some providers are like, we don't believe that, especially when that law first came out, we don't believe that law applies to us.
Yeah.
And so
Oh, I
now,
remember because I handled ordering medical records during that time, and I had to argue with a lot of medical providers.
right. And then it comes, I mean, and I think part of it is what are we going to do? We're going to take this $45 bill and go to court over it, So it just, because no one's going to go to that level over a $45 bill. But on our end, when if we have 30 clients that we have to order medical records for, and it's a $50 bill for 30 clients, that $50 adds up real quick.
Right.
So that law, we really kind of fought with medical providers to reduce the cost for our clients, because we didn't want to turn that cost back over to our clients, and we really wanted to keep the cost low for people who weren't working. And then ultimately, if they don't win their case, if a client doesn't win their case, it's not like they just magically now have an extra $250 to pay for the medical records that, so we understand that as well.
Well, and I think just to mention it really says a lot about how we really do help people. And some of it our clients don't see. Actually, a lot of it our clients really don't see. And sometimes maybe that can be a little frustrating because you think, well, I want to know everything that's going on and I don't know what's going on. Are they even doing anything? And believe me, we're constantly doing something, and we've worked tirelessly to have teams to make sure everything runs smoothly, to make sure we're keeping costs down. And we do work really hard on the back end for our clients. And yeah, sometimes that just doesn't come across, or you don't really get to see it, but we do work hard.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love that you mentioned that, because as you know, in every team meeting, we start the team meeting with, we have someone kind of say, okay, what's the firm's mission? And then I say, what are the 3 core questions you should, and I make people put a Post-it note on their computer until they memorize it. What are the 3 core questions you should be asking yourself throughout the day as you're working on cases? Which are, question number 1 is, the core question is how do I add more value? Right? And then the 3 questions under that is, how do I add value to the client, to our team, and to the firm? And that's really, if we can start with adding value to our clients. And like you said, we're not going to bring the client on the phone for, a phone call that we're having with Providence over a $45 bill, but we are fighting with Kaiser, Providence, Ciox, you name it, if they're charging our clients money. And someone will be on the phone with them for 45 minutes. First, you got to be on hold, and then you're on this call, and you're fighting for your clients to save your clients $45, $50, $100, $300, whatever the bill may be, because the law says they get 1 free photocopy. Mm-hmm. We have an employee that's almost full-time job is to follow up on medical record requests, because we'll send the request in and the provider is like, oh, we lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We lost it. And then we have to follow up with them. Why did you lose it? Here it is again. Did you get it? So there, like you said, there's a lot on the back end, because we're not going to, tell clients or have clients be a part of those conversations, because it's just a phone call. Like, hey, where are these medical records? Right? Like, and I think so many people, they trust that, oh, I've ordered these medical records and they're still not here, but they're just like, oh, I think if you're a claimant and you're ordering your own medical records, you may not even think you need to follow up, mm-hmm. like until like, oh man, it's been a couple months. Oh, where's my medical records? Right.
Right.
So that is an issue.
Or maybe you think that your my chart is the same as your medical records, which it's not. And that's
right.
a big thing. We could go on and on about medical records themselves.
Right. Yes. Is there anything else like what that you tell claimants about? So we talked about attorney fees. What about other expectations, like things that maybe clients that hire our firm, kind of what they can hope and expect from us? Not even hope, but expect from us.
I really